the whinge of the week, wine of the week, whinge of the week, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to run with whinge of the week. Whinge of the week this week is from Zion Williamson's dunk. So I posted a little short there of Zion's 360 windmill dunk. I don't know if you've seen it, but it was pretty bloody big. End of the game, few seconds to go, and they sort of flip the ball. Usually in basketball, if you're winning, you just sort of dribble the ball out and play it out. Now this one, home game, big dunk, and it was more than a dunk. I'm going to play it for us, guys, because it was a good one to watch.
Yeah.
It gets a little heated after this.
I'm disappointed with the caption that scuffle. If that's what they call a scuffle, please.
Yeah.
It's worse than rugby league handbags at 10 paces.
What they're talking about is the play before 18 seconds ago or whatever, and one of the players just did a layup as well when he could have held the ball. And unwritten rules in sport, they're everywhere. I don't know. Do you guys think that's a bit disrespectful? That dunk there, or
with the score line, it wasn't a blowout game.
No.
No, it's only 9 points, wasn't it?
Yeah, obviously they can't win. So there's, if they're down that end of the court and the points are there to take, it's fine. But he's just throwing the ball half the court, to an open player. I think that's the biggest thing that makes it disrespectful. That there was no need for that. They could have just dicked around with the ball down there at that end, and held it, passed it around, and the clock winds down.
Yeah.
No, it was almost game over, and long pass, and then
that's right. That pass isn't getting any commentary. It's like, yes, they have a go at Zion for doing the dunk, but like you said, if old mate had just held the ball and just slowly walked it to half court, like they often do, so be it. But he hoiks it down there. What are you supposed to do?
Yeah. It was a fair dunk, though.
Oh, yeah. It was nice.
Oh, yeah. I should say, it wasn't a blowout. So if they had been up by 20 points or something, then you might have thought, yeah, okay. But, it wasn't that big a difference.
And you look at, as I said, the play before was a layup. So there's another 2 points. So it's 2 points closer as it is. So, it isn't a blowout. Look, it's a home game. It was a home game for the Pels. Put on a show for the crowd. In his defense, he come back and said those guys, sent him home last year. So it was a bit of a show to them that, look at me, look what I'm doing this year, and they are doing really well, the Pels. So while we're talking about unwritten rules in sport, I know we know a few with baseball. What do you guys think? Are these unwritten rules in sport, are they outdated? Is there still room for them? In baseball, you get a few different rules where you're showing some respect to the other team. Is it just about the respect now, or what do you guys think?
Yeah, I think it's getting to that point. A lot of the unwritten rules are sort of going out the window. Like all games are changing these days. Like you keep hearing the motto, let the kids play sort of thing. So they're bringing flair. They're trying to bring the crowds, get the crowds involved, but there's still a need for some to be there. Like we talked about before, it's like with baseball, the unwritten rules, like if you're up against a guy who's thrown a no-hitter or a perfect game or whatever, there's no bunt attempts sort of thing. It's just, okay, you ride the game, let the game develop. But I think a lot are going out the window. We struggle to find what other ones there are these days. So
Yeah.
Times are changing.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, 10, no stealing and bunting when your runs up and stuff like that. I mean, when we played early days of baseball, Randall, we were often down by 10 to 20 runs, but most of the teams are pretty good about that. We had no one in first grade for years and years where we're getting flogged. We still love the game. We still played the game as hard as we could. And teams respected you, even though you weren't at their level or whatever it might be. And that's what's good about sport.
Yeah, I suppose the big one you look at now too is the home run, isn't it? Like we only saw it a few weeks back. We spoke about it. The big clothesline coat hanger leading to a punch up because old mates, hit a jack, bat flip, pimped it. Nice little slow trot. No one ever talks about the pitches. If you strike out a big hitter in a big pressure situation, they get worked up too. You look at people like Liam Hendricks and stuff like that. Like he gets pumped up, and it's good. It's a big situation, and you've come out on top. You're going to be pumped. I don't think it's any different. I don't think a lot of the time there's meant to be any disrespect to the other team or anything like that. But they're getting paid big dollars now to hit home runs.
Yeah,
that's why they're getting their big contracts to hit the ball out of the park, and they want to get crowds in, and that'll get crowds in. Bat flip it, hit it over the fence, pump your chest, think you're a hero, whatever.
Yeah,
as long as it doesn't get carried away.
And that's what the kids are looking for these days. They do that on the video games. As you say, it starts with the video games. The kids do that in the games, and then when they come to a live sporting event, they want to see their heroes sort of doing that, and sort of that's the expectation nowadays.
I think there's not as many consequences either. Can you imagine that in the 90s basketball era when it was a bit rough and tough? When, if someone did that, they probably would have got pushed over and punched in the face. If it was baseball, you're probably going to get one in the ribs next time you play someone. There's no consequences, I guess, like that in sport these days. Like it's frowned upon to do those sort of things now, whereas back in the day, that's what happened. It was radio. Here's one in the ribs, bang.
Yeah, and especially now in baseball, someone does, and there's a bit of chit chat, and maybe try a little bit of argy bargy, and then that bloke gets hit next time, and straight away umpires are going, "Oh well, we'll have a talk about this." Oh yeah, 2 weeks ago these guys played each other, and there was a bit of biffo with that player, and that's probably intentional. Yeah, you're gone.
Yeah,
they just flick them straight away now. It's just it's all changed. Where before it would have been, Nolan Ryan would have punched the shit out of old mate that was hitting after he tried to charge him, and then he would have walked back out on the mound with a bloody mouth and kept pitching.
He did that. That's right. Against Ventura. Right. He's sort of hitting. They had their brawl. Umpire said, all right, yep, it's happened. Get on with the game.
Yep. Everyone moved on.
How was that one on Instagram? I don't know if it was you, Davo, or Van Dyke sent me. Blake got thrown at and missed him behind him, and then he bunted down the first baseline so he could crash tackle the pitcher. I can't even remember who it was, but yeah, same thing.
Yeah. Well, I had a funny instance the other year. I was only a couple of years ago playing second grade on the coast, and this, as you say, the unwritten rule, I came on to mop up a game or down by 7 or 8. Leadoff guy gets on, he steals second. And I've just looked over their coach. I'm like, what the hell? So first pitch, bang, missed the guy. So up and in. So, all right, I'll get him next pitch. Next pitch I missed, it's gone to the net. And it's like PJ, Paul Jones, was the home plate umpire. He's come out and said, what's wrong with you, Dave? He said, you used to be able to hit people. And he knew what was going on. He said, right, you've had your chance, haven't you? I said, yeah, I've stuffed up. All right, let's move on. Yeah. But he knew what was going on. He wasn't going to do anything about it. And that's when it clicked with their coach. It's like, oh, hang on, how many were we up by? Yeah. And so, yeah. But, yeah, it's just funny. It's like, what happened to you? You used to be able to hit people. But that's the old school mentality of us still. Like others would probably just let it go, but I'm just a stubborn old fool.
It's like Randall when he was playing in the father-son game the other year. And I think it was James. It might have been Noah hitting for a home run. And
Should have pimped it.
Yeah.
Bob Gibson.
Yeah.
Bob Gibson in his last major league start gave up a home run to a guy, came up against him 10 years later in a veterans game or a seniors game or something, plugged him.
So
First
pitch because he still held resentment to giving up a home run in his last career start.
Yeah. So we had lots of talking on the YouTube channel about from this Zion thing earlier on about, people holding resentment for, to the next game or whatever. And that's a perfect example of athletes holding a grudge. It happens all the time in sport.